What invention is so good that it actually can't be improved upon? I've heard the pinsetter machine in bowling alleys has never had a redesign. It was perfect already. It depends. The fundamental mechanisms behind it has stayed the same, but different pinsetters have made minor adjustments to make common issues, well, less common. As of modern day, new high-end pinsetters have actually no perceivable way to change their core design. But yeah, this was what I was gonna say too lol. Near perfect for its purpose. Who the F are you? The pinsetter person? P-trap, a simple elegant way to prevent odor from coming into your house via sink, toilet, etc. A lot of Asia still doesn't use this. Trust me, it makes a huge difference. I lived in China for 18 years. At one stage I was in a 30-story apartment building with no P-trap. The bathroom was actually located in the center of the apartment and had louver doors. The pipes were straight drops from the top of the building to the bottom. There were 4 apartments on each floor, 1 in each corner. We each had our own set of pipes we shared with all the people in that position on every floor. Whenever somebody on my corner of the building flushed the toilet on any floor above me, I was on the 4th, the louver doors would blow open just a little bit with toilet air. Even with the lid on the bowl it happened. This greatly contributed to the spread of SARS. A mirror is as good as it gets for its usage. A wide-angle mirror that doesn't distort size, shape or position. The Xlr cable, until they can beam something directly into your head, we kind of hit a dead end for perceived sound. The simplicity of what a cable can do by allowing both AC and DC power to flow through so you can power and draw signal from a microphone. Plus the fact it's so simple to remove the noise you get from outside interference makes it even more genius. Phantom power. Spooky. I am always glad to see Xlr and 5-pin DMX on the forever-ish list. Just works. Works and works and works and works and works. Such optimized systems. Paperclip. Last major patent was in the 1880s. On a similar note, the binder clip. Those little affairs are the source of many life hacks. That's a funny name for a potato chip bag clip. Then how do you explain Clippy? That bastard can go to hell. The paper clip is great, but the binder clip is the I've had the same binder clip as a money clip for 15 years. Plus they are great for easy cord management, chip clips, toothpaste squeezers, and so much more. I often feel like the George Washington Carver of binder clips because I extol their value so much. Those things are dope city. Whatever you do, do not tell girls you're the George Washington Carver of binder clips. I've tried it. It doesn't work. It only gets you weird looks. I beg to differ, you son of a bee. Those bones they use for tanning leather. People have tried using all sorts of different materials but bone always works best apparently. Yeah, if I remember it correctly from my college classes, those weren't created by humans. Like, what? It was a tool created by Homo erectus I believe, but it does predate anatomically modern humans. Homo erectus boning. I'm just not mature enough for this conversation. I'm sorry. I remember reading about archaeologists wondering what these particular bone tools were used for and it was a mystery for years, maybe decades, not sure, and one happened to mention it to a friend who was a tanner who took one look, told them what it was, and grabbed an almost identical one, still bone, out of their tanning toolbox for comparison. That's about all I remember too. Cast iron skillet estate, 1707. Rapunzel has entered the chat. Who knew? The brick. It has been made of mud, then mud with straw, then mud with clay, then finally with clay alone. That is as far as progress has taken the brick in the, guess, 8,000 years since it was invented, and it is still in use today. Someone, lost in the obscurity of ancient history, realized that you couldn't build really strong stone structures with irregularly shaped small natural stones, and hewing huge lumps of stone into regular shapes was just ridiculously hard work. That person also observed that mud that fell into a fire was left hardened when the fire died down, so they figured that if you shape mud into regular shapes, big enough to carry one in each hand, you would have all the advantages of small irregular stones and large geometrically carved stones, but with none of the drawbacks of either. This thought must have taken a second to dawn on the inventor. The practical work to prove the concept must have taken a weekend, at most, perhaps a week or two to get the shape just right, and here we are, thousands of years later. and the damn thing has barely changed at all. The hollow concrete block is a major improvement. It's way more widely used around the world. And rebar. Rebar is important, too. Pizza. You can change it up, you can ruin it, and you can fold it half like a crazy calzone munching madman, but you can't beat perfection. The calzones betrayed me. It's about the cones. My friend Ben Wyatt has an idea for a low-calorie calzone restaurant called the Local Calzone Zone. I'd say nail clippers. Rich and poor people all use the same thing to clip their nails. Rich people pay poor people to clip their nails for them, and those poor bastards use the same nail clipper the other poor bastards use. Zipper. Best way to merge in traffic. Yes, it's meant to be a zipper you learn to drive. Rubber bands. They work. When I was a kid, rubber bands would last for years. Now most of them fail within a year or so because they removed the coke. The premium rubber caused wars and mass genocide. I'm fine with cheap rubber that doesn't cause those side effects. Most professional classical music instruments are already in their final stage like piano and violin. Taking the other tack, most orchestral scores do not feature saxophone because it wasn't developed until the 1840s, which is extremely recent on the musical timeline. I would argue that there have been innovations there. Someone added pickups and small speakers to piano so players could better hear their own playing. The electric violin, the keyboard. Woodwind instruments on the other hand. Oh how I live for the day that synthetic reeds actually replace cane. Laguerre is really close, but Van Doren still has them beat, especially on playing feel. The pocket. Girls' pants have entered the chat. Seriously, don't know why you guys are denied the convenience of pockets so often. Pocket real estate is a critical decision in my pants buying. If I get a pair of pants with less than 3 pockets it's absolutely infuriating. I present to you the zippered pocket, like a pocket but more secure. The spoon is a pretty incredible invention. It can often sub as a fork or a knife, and it has a great name. Those special self-stabilizing spoons to help people with hand tremors feed themselves are pretty cool. Over-engineered for most people but I'm happy they exist. I should make a self-stabilizing soldering iron. I have a moderate tremor and I can do most things but I can't effing solder. And I'm an electrical engineer. You can improve on it by making it comically large. My spoon is too big. What about a spoon that lights up when the food has reached the optimum temperature for consumption so that you don't burn your mouth? That would be more expensive and ruin the simplicity of a spoon. Plus, it would require some sort of power source and would likely suffer from wear and tear of whatever system was doing that and break at some point. Normal spoons are pretty much forever. Not really an improvement, just a complexity. What about a spork? The basic sewing needle. It really hasn't changed in thousands of years. There is no need for change. I'd argue that sewing machines are just advanced sewing needles. I still can't figure out how they work. I've seen animations and videos of the mechanics but my brain refuses to process it and it looks so simple. Almost too simple. How about a self-threading needle? I disagree. I want my sewing needle to have Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connectivity. I want to be able to find it remotely in case one gets lost. Also it needs to have a light on it so I can sew in the dark. I also want it to charge wirelessly as I don't want to deal with cables. Finally I want an app that lets me connect to it and view stats, like the number of stitches I've made and how many hours I've been using it. Don't forget the functionality of it sensing when it needs replacing and instantly ordering a new one too. Also, it can refuse to sew if you try to use non-approved brands of thread to ensure your satisfaction. Of course, and every time you pick it up it has to spend 45 minutes doing a firmware update before you can use it. For security, how about a lane departure warning if you go off of a straight line while sewing? It buzzes and moves itself to the correct position. I was at a farm the other day and I dropped mine while I was messing about on a huge pile of dried grass. Tried looking for it but it was like trying to find, well, I can't even think of an appropriate way to describe how hard it was to find. The soda can. The physics behind it have been perfected. There is a cool YouTube video about it. The toilet S-bend. We would still be throwing our Hershey soldiers out the window without it. Invented in 1775 and still used today. Source: BBC and Crichton from Red Dwarf. It was actually improved on. Used to be an actual S-bend, but those would evaporate or could get kinda slurped out by another drain further down. So they made the U-bend. It has a vent pipe running up so that another toilet or sink or whatever on the same drain pipe could not siphon off the trap, where the water sits, the low point of the toilet, after the trap gets below a certain level. Sewer gas, hydrogen sulfide ionic, gets in and makes the room smell like sh. It's been about 4 years since my plumbing class, but it was pretty memorable. A fun anecdote, one of the contributors to the rapid spread of SARS in an apartment block was dry traps. Investigators discovered that many bathrooms had floor drains whose traps were dry. This allowed aerosolized virus from a sick individual's feces to spread throughout the apartment complex via the plumbing system. Hershey, soldiers, yep, that's in our heads now. It's just there and we're left to live with it. That mini trident you used to scratch your back, man, that's the best invention of human race. IDK man, the lightsaber under my mom's bed was really nice when I used it as a back massager. A knife. It can do anything. Soup, poop, except it cannot the cat. Please do not the cat. Windshield wipers. My engineering professor always lectured us on how perfect the design is and how new changes made are strictly aesthetic and don't work any better, until they invent one that cleans the whole window instead of just parts of it. Easy fix. Make the windshield in the shape that the wipers wipe. Plates. You can get the ones that don't smash. It's too good. Zooples. Holy sh! I haven't thought about those things in years. You've just awoken some long forgotten memories. Zooples make eating fun. We Want Plates can show you 1000 examples of people failing to beat plates at their own game. The steam turbine. It is such a useful way to convert heat into electricity that it would not be surprising to see one strapped to a fusion reactor. If one ever get built, they are already strapped to fission reactors. That's pretty good, I'd say. Yeah, the steam turbine inventor was way ahead of his time. He really was a visionary. TBF. The modern turbine is a very complex system that has taken over 100 years to get to the efficiency that it is at, and newer fluid simulations may improve it to even more. We live in amazing times, seeing as how the steam turbine is still the main secondary side of power generation and is currently used with nuclear fission. Makes sense. I was going to say a shovel, but it looks like people have already said spoons. What is a spoon but a very small shovel? What is a shovel but a very large spoon? Are you asking if there's an invention that does its job so well that nothing else can do the same job better? Like how a light bulb can give off more light than a candle, but so far we haven't produced anything that emits light better than LEDs. Or are you asking if there's an invention that perfectly solves a specific problem, like if you want to keep dry while walking in the rain? Your best choice is an umbrella. Things that come to mind are FM radio. It is about as efficient as it's going to get. The pencil and pencil sharpener. I don't really see how they can improve them. The match and lighter. The umbrella. The hammer. The bucket. The TV. Remote. The fishing pole. The hinge. The spring. Gonna have to disagree with the TV remote. It needs sharp pointy bits so people know when they are sitting on it. Also less of those buttons that serve no purpose but to confuse grandparents. And a button on the TV that sets off an alarm on the remote so you can find the button. Does cheese count as an invention? Yep. It's the final step of a specialized process. The specialized process of forgetting milk for a while. I'm going to go out on a limb and say a doorway. It's a portal. Plain and simple. The Schrader valve used to inflate your bicycle tires, car tires, tractor tires, etc., was patented in 1893. It is still used in virtually every tire on the planet. And now you know its name. Jesus Christ. Marie. Their tires. His name is Hank. I mean, the Presta valve literally improved upon the design. Fire cooking. We've been trying to improve it for almost 2 million years. God, I hate electric stoves. I hate electronic stoves but love electric ovens. The wheel. What are you going to do? Make it rounder? Well, they put a tire on it. I dunno. Sliced bread is pretty hard to improve on. Plus it has made life easier for pretty much anyone who enjoys bread. I present to you. Double cooked sliced bread. I'll toast to that. Sliced bread could be improved by coming in half loaves. I never finish a full loaf before it molds and hate freezing and thawing it out. Garlic bread. You. Thanks bro. You too. Crocodiles. Or any apex predator that lived through the KT extinction. Physically unchanged for 100 million years. Because it's the perfect killing machine. A half ton of cold-blooded fury, the bite force of 20,000 newtons, and stomach acid so strong it can dissolve bones and hoofs. Are alligators and brain aneurysms your other two greatest fears? Maybe. That and getting pissed on by an unsocialized ocelot. Hoodies. Cold. Hoodie. Underdressed. Hoodie. No bra. Hoodie. Hot. Hoodie. Rainy. Hoodie. Dead inside. You know it. Hoodie. Need a makeshift goalpost. Hoodie. I disagree with hot. Hoodie. Nah, hoodies are cool. Ravioli. How else you gonna encapsulate cheese inside a noodle? Piragi. They are a type of polished dumpling. They are like ravioli except you pan fry them instead of putting them in sauce, and a wider variety of fillings.